Good morning. This is the AM News on the AM show across Ghana's 16 regions on the JoyNews channel, on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125, around the world on myjoyonline.com, of course, on our digital platforms, X Spaces, YouTube and Facebook. I'm Sweetie Abochi. Let's get into the details. The opposition New Patriotic Party has warned that the new cocoa producer price announced by the government may push farmers to smuggle their cocoa across Ghana's borders in search of better prices. Finance Minister Dr. Kasiela Tuforsen this week announced a marginal increase in the price per bag, citing a stable cedi and easing inflation. But the minority says farmers were promised far more and calls this a move of betrayal. Hannah Odami has the rest of the story.
The revised price, set to take effect from the 7th of August, indicates an increase from $3,100 to $5,040 per ton. According to the Finance Minister, the increment was possible due to a strong Ghana cedi and declining inflation. But the minority does not agree to this. Ranking on the Committee on Food, Agriculture and Cocoa Affairs, Dr. Isaac Yao Opoku, who's described the increase as a betrayal to cocoa farmers, called on government to issue an apology to them.
Honorable Eric Opoku, on various campaign platforms, including a meeting with cocoa farmers at Direate in the Ahafo region, consistently promised cocoa farmers a producer price of 6,000 Ghana cedis per bag. Honorable Atuforsen, on the other hand, promised to pay cocoa farmers 7,000 cedis per bag if they won power. What happened to these numerous promises? They should stop the lamentations and honor their promises. Honorable Eric Opoku will have to go back to Direate and apologize unreservedly for his failed promise.
The minority further indicated that even by conservative estimates, government should have set the price at 3,718 per bag, not at 3,228.75 cedis.
At today's world market price of 8,211, the 70% translates to 84,986.23 Ghana cedis per ton, or 3,718 Ghana cedis per bag.
According to the minority, the new cocoa producer price, which is less than what is offered in Ivory Coast, has a tendency to compel farmers to smuggle cocoa beans to nearby countries to sell in order to acquire higher prices.
This stark difference presents an irresistible incentive for smugglers to divert Ghanaian cocoa across the border, particularly leading to a mass exodus of our prized main crop beans from the border regions, especially in the Western South, Western North, Bono Ahafo, and the Volta.
For JoyNews, I am Hannah Odami.
There's confusion mounting over public transport fares as a 20% increase announced by the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council takes effect this Friday, August 8th, without the support of GPRTU. The unexpected split between the two main transport bodies has sparked disagreement over process, legitimacy, and who exactly speaks for the drivers. Commuters and operators are now caught in the middle, unsure what fares to expect at the terminal. There's more in this report.
Public transport fares are expected to go up by 20% this Friday. But the usual consensus behind such decision has broken down. The Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council says the increment is necessary due to three main factors: rising spare parts prices, poor road conditions, and an 8% jump in fuel prices following the introduction of a 1 cedi per litre fuel levy. But this time, the announcement came without the endorsement of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union. The GPRTU says it was not consulted and is describing the move as a major departure from procedure. Stephen Amoa is the deputy PRO of the GPRTU.
In fact, when we saw this communique, we were a bit surprised because we have no idea about this very increment. Our records will prove to us that this has never happened. That only GRTCC will come out with a communique, for increasing transport fares. When we saw this communique, we were a bit surprised, for GRTCC coming up with this communique.
The union is urging its members to hold off on implementing the new fares until further talks are held with the Transport Ministry and the GTRCC.
By tomorrow, the leadership of GPRT is meeting the Transport Ministry to talk about this, to find out from them whether the GRTCC consulted them or there has been an engagement between the GRTCC and the Transport Ministry. If not, then I believe the Transport Ministry has to call a meeting to invite the GRTCC. Then we talk about it before the Friday. Else, it's going to create a lot of confusion.
Meanwhile, the GTRCC is not backing down. Officials say they feel betrayed by the GPRTU, accusing them of holding separate talks with the Transport Ministry over the fuel levy and failing to report back. Alhaji Tanko is the acting national chairman of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council.
And we are trying to meet the minister or something like that. We didn't get him to discuss. Nobody, even when the thing comes, nobody consults us. Oh, this is what is going to come. Government has made his mind to do this, to do this. Nobody tells us.
The council insists it represents a wider group of transport associations beyond the GPRTU and is pushing ahead with a fare hike, citing the urgent need to offset the rising cost of operation.
The transport body is not for 1 month. It's not for one association. Because you see, you can get this OE. They are not part of GPRTU. So not the only GPRTUs in the country.
But parts of the argument are now being challenged. President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Joseph Obeng, says spare part prices have dropped slightly in response to cedi gains.
Goods have responded positively to the stability of the local currency. You see, we've told you several times that we also have our own challenges, even though we are transferring some of the gains so far gotten to the consuming public.
With Friday's deadline approaching, uncertainty lingers over which fare commuters will be charged and who holds the final say.
In other stories, illegal mining is creeping dangerously close to homes in Anuatakrom in the Amensie West District of the Ashanti region. 3 major rivers have all been destroyed and farmlands may be next. Now, residents are calling on governments to act before the devastation gets worse. Nana Yaljima visited the area and filed this report.
Mining operations have severely impacted 3 river bodies, Subia, Nyene and Suseng. The once vibrant water bodies now lack aquatic life, a consequence of the introduction of hazardous chemicals like mercury and others. Boundaries of these river bodies have been mined illegally and portions being used to store mining waste. Here is a frustrated resident lamenting over the wanton destruction.
In the
olden days, this was our main source of water. We used it for everything. It was safe to drink and refreshing. It was covered by bamboo trees, but everything has been destroyed today. It is useless. It can't be used for anything. It is being destroyed by chemicals from mining.
Cocoa crops are also being attacked, causing many families to lose their livelihoods. Families are losing inheritance as a result of the illegality. The presence of illegal miners has left multiple uncovered mined pits scattered across the community, threatening the lives of residents.
The cocoa farm was owned by my sister. It was passed to me when my sister fell ill. We were able to get at least 10 bags in a day of low yields. It took care of the family and even paid school fees of our kids. My sister, who is now bedridden, depends on it. We lost all in one day. We couldn't have sold our livelihoods to one individual.
Residents of Antwerp Krom want government to intervene in halting the illegality.
Our biggest property is now taken from us. It took care of the whole family. Now we have nothing to fall on. I'm pleading with the government to intervene. At least the perpetrators should compensate us for the damage.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Now, the Acting Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, has announced plans to establish a new directorate in Cape Coast as part of efforts to expand the operations in the central region. During a visit to the GRA offices in Cape Coast, Mr. Sapong highlighted the heavy workload placed on the current command, which oversees 3 regions. He noted that the proposal will help the directorate ease the pressure and support the authority in consolidating its growth and achievements. Abigail Eselin-Krumah has more.
On a visit to the offices of the Ghana Revenue Authority in Cape Coast, the Acting Commissioner General of the authority, Anthony Kwesi Sapong, described the visit as a form of employee motivation.
As you may be aware, the President of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, his vision is to reset Ghana, to reset the economy. And for us as GRA, part of that vision as leaders is to get close to our people, to know how they are carrying out every day our mandate to collect revenue. And you know, revenue mobilization is key for national development and the President's agenda. So today my visit was to see firsthand the offices around Cape Coast, both for domestic tax as well as for customs, and to assure and encourage my officers to do their best to ensure that we deliver on our mandate on revenue mobilization.
He also shared plans of a new directorate in Cape Coast to expand the GRA's operations in the central region.
Secondly, if we look at central region, western region, and western north, they are all under one command and directorate, which headquarters in Takoradi, which is a very large area to cover. So we came to Cape Coast to also assure them that going forward, as an authority, we intend to create a directorate and sector commanderate as far as customs is concerned at Cape Coast, so that we can enlarge our operations in central region and consolidate the growth and gains that we are having in Cape Coast. Our team are headquarters in Takoradi, but they do work across central region as well. I'm very happy with the work that they are doing here, particularly this Antado checkpoint. As you know, this facility, if I were to let you know, has been put forward by the leadership of the sector command, with the support of stakeholders. And that's why I'm very proud. It shows that leadership is at work at GRA. It shows that leadership is at work at the local communities. And whatever they've done, I'm committing to ensure that from the authority point of view, we will come and support them to expand the facility so we can serve the stakeholders and the community that we are operating in.
The visit was also complemented by a charitable act towards the local health center in Kisi in the Commander Dinegwa municipality in a bid to support local healthcare delivery.
But in addition to that, we work in communities, and as GRA, when we came today with the support of the officers in this area, we have made a donation to the local clinic to support them because their work facilitates healthcare in the community, and therefore donating to them is part of the social corporate responsibility that we believe in as GRA.
From Cape Coast, Abigail Eselin-Krumah reports for JoyNews.
At the heart of every thriving society is a generation of people who are not only knowledgeable and skilled, but also possess strong character. This was the central message at the 4th graduation ceremony of Yonsu Project Model School in the Ashanti region. where the focus was placed on the urgent need to prioritize character development in Ghana's education system. There's more in this report.
The school, founded just 4 years ago by Mr. Kwabena Danso, started with only 63 pupils, but now boasts an enrollment of over 700 students, supported by well-trained and dedicated teachers. More than just academics, the school is widely recognized for its focus on holistic education, one that balances knowledge, practical skills, and strong moral values. Mr. Dansu, who also heads the school, believes education must go beyond looks and certificates.
What I think, Ghana has a huge hope on this school because it's training children not for just academic excellence, but it's training them on character development. And that is one thing that I think we need. We believe that education has 3 major goals. Academic development, skills development, and then character development. And these are the 3 things we've actually put together, building these children. So for instance, when you come to our school, we have a program called the Character First Education, where the children are developing values such as honesty, integrity, being compassionate, and all that. And they go through this training rigorously every month, to make sure that the child comes to the school but does not leave the school the same. He goes with something more valuable that's able to prepare him to stand on his ground to say this is wrong or this is right, to stand for what is right and be able to say no to what is wrong. And that is what we've done over there. So with the current status quo that we have in this country, where we are turning wrong into right, this is the hope the country can have.
Mr. Danso also raised concerns about Ghana's current education system, which he believes focuses too heavily on rote learning and ignores the importance of character. He called on the Ministry of Education to review the national curriculum to make room for structured character development in all schools, both public and private.
I think that when you look at our current educational system, it has become more pro-academic. And even with the academic, we are not even approaching it the way we should approach it. I believe that it shouldn't just be the rhetoric. It shouldn't just be the theory. It should be practical-based education, where the children learn practically what they are learning, what actually have practical experience with what they are learning in the books. Aside this, so by doing so, the child actually develops knowledge and skills at the same time. But what is most importantly is that we imbibe character development in our educational system. We are talking about corruption every day. We are talking about the imbalances in our country every day because we've left our values. And until we start coming back to where we left off, inculcate in these children values, that is where we can actually say we are being back on track. And so I think character development, character education should be a major part of educational development.
The ceremony brought together parents, educators, community members, and traditional leaders who all applauded the school's efforts to raise well-rounded students. As Ghana prepares the next generation of leaders, Yonsu Project Model School hopes its approach will serve as a model worth emulating across the country. Josephine Segos reports for JoyNews.
Business update now with Samuel Kojo-Brace.
Let's do business updates now, and to our first story. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has expressed optimism about the current stability of the Ghana cedi against major global currencies, attributing it to the central bank's policy framework. Speaking at the inaugural address of the Bank of Ghana Chair in Finance and Economics in Accra, Dr. Isiama emphasized that the regulator will work to prevent excessive volatility in the currency in order to safeguard the economy from external shocks.
We are using a managed floating framework, and under managed floats, at least the currency must move, isn't it? It is different from a fixed exchange rate. But there's this interesting phenomenon in Ghana which we really need to work to change. When the currency moves in one direction, everybody moves with it. The moment the cedi gets to 10.7 tomorrow, everybody says then it's going back to 15.0. And I ask why. The exchange rate, we keep saying, is an endogenous variable, particularly under the framework that we are working with. And so the cedi, dollar rate must move on a daily basis. It must move. A colleague gave the example that he was in a queue in South Africa to change some dollars. They were in a queue. And right when he was in the queue, they were told the exchange rate had moved. And that's the beauty of it. But in Ghana, let the exchange rate move in a day. There's total news all over the country why the cedi has moved. And yet the cedi must move. When the exchange rate is flexible, it protects the economy against shocks. And so must it be. Our preoccupation is to ensure that those movements are not excessive. And that is what we commit to do. We do not target any band. We do not target any fixed level. Our objective is to ensure, and let me emphasize, that we do not have movements that are excessive.
From that, the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers has strongly kicked against any move by transport operators to increase commercial fares by 20% this Friday. COPEC argues that there is no justification for an increase in transport fares based on its research and engagement with stakeholders. Duncan Amwa is Executive Secretary of COPEC.
I will be surprised that we allow a section of the driving public to take all of us on a bad ride. If that happens, you are simply telling the Abosokan spare parts people to also go and increase the cost of parts, even without justification. We are equally telling the oil marketing companies to simply charge whatever they want. Mind you, they are also in a deregulated environment, which allows them to price as they wish. And so if we allow this to go, we are simply creating not only chaos, but we are derailing the entire system for the selfish benefit of a few who think that, of course, because they were not consulted or asked any questions in the introduction of the One Ghana levy, which legitimately they should have been consulted. I agree. Because they were not consulted, so they also feel that they should come and, inconvenience the system. That I cannot see any justification for. The numbers do not support this decision, and I think that it is only fair and proper that they withdraw the decision completely.
Let's wrap up by checking out what's happening on the commodities market.